Show up. And you guys know to adjust the microphone so it's in front of your mouth. This one. Okay, cool. Welcome. Welcome to River Road Unitarian Universalist Congregation. I'm Beth Irakura, your Lifespan Faith Development, a religious education director. I've heard a lot of titles. If this is your first time here in person, welcome. I hope you'll stop by the welcome table so we can get to know you and get connected. That's out in the lounge. For those of you watching on YouTube, please feel free to join in the chat with our online hosts. If you're watching this at a later date and have questions, please visit our website to learn how to connect with us. This morning, I'm thrilled that we have a guest minister, Reverend Charlotte Lehmann. Welcome to them. I think that you'll really enjoy Charlotte's sermon. RE families and teachers are invited to another RE brunch this week. Come to room 32 after the worship service for food and conversation. We're running a survey about social justice at River Road. We need your responses. Answer on the form linked in the e-weekly by using the QR code set up at coffee hour on the greeting tables. This is to gather information for our conversation on February 15th and 16th, where we're going to have social justice workshop weekend. More info on that coming soon. And details for all our other programs and upcoming events can be found on our website, rruuc.org. Welcome.
We begin our time together by lighting our chalice, the chosen symbol of our faith, with these words by Ben Soul. Let us hold a quiet moment together as our chalice is lit.
As the wild wind bites, so does the still flame warm us.
As the deep snows block our doors, so does the gentle flame bring us out.
As the crackling cold air stops our breath, so does the radiant flame draw from us.
The words we need to give and to receive.
Words of greeting, words of comfort, words of solace.
Words to challenge our minds and words to bring us to action.
Let us gaze upon this, our common flame,
so that we remember who we are and what we can do when we are together.
Please rise as you are willing and able to sing hymn number 61, Lo, the Earth Awakens Again. And the words should appear on our back wall. This morning's Prophetic Voices is a book called The Marvelous Mustard Seed by Amy Jill Levine and Sandy Eisenberg Sasso. It is a retelling of the parable of Jesus, the parable of the mustard seed. There is one line in the back that says, refers to the kingdom of God being like the mustard seed. And I invite you to translate in your head that it will be the beloved community. I think we got it now. A child plants a mustard seed in an empty garden. It's an itty-bitty seed. It isn't anything very special yet. Mustard seeds are so small that you have to look hard to see them. You have to look so hard to see them that you need to get really close. There's not much to be done with a single teeny-weeny seed. You can't eat it or wear it. You can't take it for a walk or cuddle with it, or you can't write or blow bubbles with it. The only thing you can do is plant it in the soil. Then rain falls and the sun shines, and things begin to happen in the earth. No matter how hard you look or how close you get, you can't see that tiny seed. The seed is hidden down with the moles, down with the ants, down with the earthworms. Then it happens. The place of the itty-bitty seed, up comes a shoot. Up comes a sprout. Up comes a bush. But it doesn't stop there. It grows, and it grows, and it grows until it becomes a humongous tree. Birds make their nests there. The neighbors exclaim, "A mustard tree? Amazing! Birds resting there. Surprising. People enjoying its shade. Unbelievable." Acorns grow into big oak trees. Cedars, they have trunks that you can't fit your arms around. Mustard plants are just ordinary bushes. But not this one. This one is a mustard tree. You don't have to look hard or really close to see it anymore. It's right in front of you. Some people touch it to make sure that it's real. Others sit under its branches. They take the pod from the tree and remove the seeds and make spices. They take the mustard leaves and the seeds and make food and medicine. The spices and the medicine are for everyone. The kingdom of God, or like I say, the beloved community, is like a mustard seed in our garden, right outside the windows, growing from itsy-bitsy, teeny-weeny to colossal, from impossible to see to unable to miss. The tree is so gigantic, it's a wonder. It's not all we expect to find, and yet there it is, surprising us, helping to imagine what it can be. But isn't yet. So even if right now I think a lot of us feel like our faith and our efforts are like the mustard seed, just so small. What small little thing is, how important is my small little thing? But if we plant those seeds of our efforts, they will grow and we will succeed. And now children and teens and their teachers are dismissed to their classes.
During the time of joys and concerns, we lift up those heartfelt moments that we have experienced in our lives, especially during the past week, to send energy out to the world, energy of support, energy of healing, energy of care. We lift up those individuals and their families, their friends, extended communities of the people who have died in the two horrific plane crashes that occurred during this past week. We lift up all those who are struggling, who are scared, who are not knowing what to do for themselves and for their loved ones, as various pronouncements and announcements and edicts come down regarding their lives and the lives of those they love. We need to be there for each other during this time, just to listen, just to hear what the fear is, to hold people in their sadness. There is joy in the world too. It's hard to see it sometimes with the overwhelming amount of harsh news. But all of that rain the other day washed away an awful lot of snow. Spring is on the way, and we are headed into warmer times, times when we can get outside and be with each other and celebrate what is the creation that we are part of. Amen. Blessed be.
Good morning. I'm Walt Scott, your worship associate for this morning. In support of our congregation and the community beyond, the morning offering will now be gratefully received. We do so mindful of the fact that we draw water from wells that we did not dig, and we pick fruit from trees that we did not plant. This is as it should be, so long as we dig and plant for those who come after. If this is your first time visiting, please feel free to let the baskets pass you by. Your presence is your gift to us. To learn more about why we give of our financial treasure, you can check out our website at rruuc.org. There you can find information on our vibrant programs and all the ways to connect to the mission and vision of this community. You can also give right there on that main page by clicking the blue Give Online button. You can also text to give. The text to give number is 73256. Again, that is 73256. Type RRUUC and the amount that you'd like to give. Thank you for sharing your time, your talents, and your treasure. We invite you now to light a candle of joys and concerns while the offertory plays.
The reading I share with you this morning is written by Canadian poet and writer and artist named Tara Shannon. Listen to the scrape of brittle bones clutching at the ghost of power. It is not thunder, but the cracking of centuries-old foundations, the patriarchy's trembling gasp, a wheeze disguised as a roar. They writhe in pulpits and parliaments, dragging their dogma like chains, tithing their last breaths to misogyny and fear, their temples teetering on lies too heavy to bear. They preach one final sermon, a dirge for dominion dressed in laws, a hymn of hatred masquerading as tradition. They claw, but we see their hands are dust. Rise, for they are dying, their death rattle a warning and a promise. Do not let their fear become your future. Kick the rubble until the altars crack, until the gilded idols shatter, until the ashes of their empires scatter in the winds that smell of justice. Let the ruin be fertile. Turn the dust into soil, the rubble into roots. Grow humanity where control once choked the light. This is not the end. This is the death rattle, the final futile cry of a beast that knows its time is done. Do not mourn. Do not relent. The world waits, not for saviors, but for seeds. Beautiful, just beautiful. I know today is Groundhog Day, but we don't need Groundhog Day. Instead, we need the celebration that spring is coming. It is on its way. And so I ask you, how many of you are Irish or have some Irish ancestry in your family tree like I do? You can show your hands, yeah? Quite a few of you. My lineage includes Scotch-Irish, that is, religious dissenters and eventually Presbyterians. How many of you mark the pagan holidays? Again, let's see a show of hands. Some of you, a few of you. Did any of you, whether you routinely practice pagan rituals or not, do something to mark the quarter day of Imbolc or St. Brigid's Day yesterday, February 1st? Anybody? Do anything? I went for a beautiful walk. I didn't do any of the specific rituals associated with the holiday. Pagan quarter days mark the transition from one season to the next, and we are now just over halfway between Winter Solstice and the Spring Equinox. And for people who aren't big fans of winter, that is something to celebrate. The Christian church adopted the ancient Celtic feast days that were linked to nature and amalgamated them into the Christian calendar. Pagan celebrations include a lot of symbolism associated with the ritual's appeals for protection and blessings. Feast days included special meals. In the case of Imbolc, the feast meal was in thanksgiving for the previous year's crops, tempered with hope and protection, sought for the vegetable crops still to be sown. I'll admit, I used Google to find out what symbolism in particular is assigned to Imbolc. My first pass at it told me it was all about the spring planting. And the National Museum of Ireland's page about St. Brigid confirms this. But then, when I initiated another Google search, it was more about livestock and the sowing of a different sort of seeds. With the approach of spring, the season of hope brought better weather and longer days. And along with that came new life on the farm and new growth on the land. St. Brigid offered protection towards fertility for the household, farm, and land, and safeguarded people from illness and disease. Are any of you already planting your gardens? A couple of people showing hands. Are any of you even planting the seeds for seedlings that will be transplanted into those gardens? A couple people. Good, good. There are farmers and cultivators setting about these tasks now, at least to our south, if not our north and our west. Planting and sowing seeds are common and powerful metaphors because of our embeddedness in and interdependence with all of creation. The story of the tiny mustard seed growing into a strikingly tall plant. I read 9 feet tall mustard plants. The retelling of which we heard during the prophetic voices portion of the service is just one parable about seeds that Jesus is said to have told his followers. It appears in all 3 of the Gospels. In addition to the parable of the mustard seed, there are also the parable of the mustard seed and the yeast, and the parable of the weeds. There is yet another parable about seeds that you may be familiar with. It is the parable of the sower. In this English Standard Version of Mark chapter 4, verses 3 to 9, it says, "Listen, behold, a sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seed fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured it. Other seed fell on rocky ground, where it did not have much soil, and immediately it sprang up, since it had no depth of soil. And when the sun rose, it was scorched, and since it had no root, it withered away. Other seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no grain. And other seeds fell into good soil and produced grain, growing up and increasing and yielding 30-fold, 60-fold, and 100-fold. And he said, 'He who has ears to hear, let him hear.'" Manish Mishra Marzetti and Nancy MacDonald Ladd, the editors of Seeds of a New Way, Nurturing Authentic and Diverse Religious Leadership, use this text of the parable of the sower to headline part 1 of the book. Now, when I mention parable of the sower, some of our minds may have immediately gone to Octavia Butler's speculative fiction novel by that name. Mine did. For those who have not read it, published in 1993, it is set in a post-apocalyptic Earth heavily affected by climate change and social inequality. It begins in 2024, when society in the United States has grown unstable due to climate change, growing wealth inequality, and corporate greed. Sound familiar? I read it back in the middle 90s, so I was stunned to become aware that its time setting is right now. I'd love to see someone make a movie of Butler's novel, just as they have done with Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. Butler had intended to write a whole series of parable books. She did follow up in 1998 with Parable of the Talents, which I have yet to read. But after starting the next one, Parable of the Trickster, Butler suffered from writer's block and abandoned that series. Sowing seeds is a future-oriented endeavor. The germination of those seeds depends upon factors that are both inherent and external, as the biblical parable indicates, to the seeds themselves. But we certainly cannot grow anything if we don't first plant those seeds. This is a time of transition on so many levels and in so many respects. In the natural world, there is the transition from winter to spring. In our nation, we are experiencing an especially disruptive transition in leadership and governance styles. This congregation is in a time of transition, too, due to changes in ministerial leadership. You experience transitions in congregational leadership on a regular basis, no doubt. In the most recent decade of our denominational history, we have been deliberately making transitions to more authentic and diverse religious leadership, as the subtitle of Seeds of a New Way states. One of co-editor Manish Mishra Marzetti's contributions to the book is a poem entitled Desert Flowers. He paints a vivid picture of the beauty that emerges even in such a harsh landscape. Improbably, the wind-blown seed found its way here to a long, beautiful stretch of land, but one that was hot, dry, and arid. A spark of life resting in an unprepared desert. quenching life-giving sustenance. The rain comes and goes, even if infrequently, sometimes only a few drops at a time, and the seed begins to take root. Possibility brought alive. But what life is this amidst the harshness? Pocket mice, rattlesnakes, camel spiders, danger and inhospitality lurking everywhere. One chance encounter gone wrong could bring death to the seedling. And yet, somehow, the intrinsic invitation to thrive, to flourish and grow finds a way, even when it is a struggle. Poking gently up from the cracked, parched earth, a beautiful pink, 5-petaled phacelia blooms spectacularly, improbably. We are those wind-blown seeds. The universe is longing for life, for thriving, for beauty, even when it is against the odds. Mishra Marzetti is expressing the same perspective as Tara Shannon, the poet of our reading this morning, that neither we nor the world can wait for saviors. That in fact we must plant ourselves and be the seeds of change, the seeds of new ways. We are the seeds of justice. We, by our very beings, plant gardens that are diverse, equitable, and inclusive. How might you sow seeds for the future? In which context or contexts, plural, can you invest what it will take to make sure that the soil is good for sustaining growth and harvesting? Jessica York, a Black credentialed religious educator who contributed to Seeds of a New Way, writes that we can sow the seeds by paying attention to the unrecognized leaders among us. Invite them into leadership, support them when they are leading, mentor them, give them resources for continuing education and training. Point them toward expanding horizons and be willing to accompany them on the path to meet those horizons. Not only will our faith be richer for the new, diverse perspectives and experiences it encompasses, so will you. You will be transformed, your own outline filled in with colors you could never have imagined before. We often wish for new leaders, new plants, and bemoan the lack of volunteers, but we haven't done enough to prepare the ground. It is necessary in order that the soil be good, that the hard earth be broken up, be tilled. What is involved in the tilling of our soil? We must, as Mishra Marzetti and Nancy MacDonald Ladd summarize in the epilogue of Seeds of a New Way, shift away from the if and be unafraid of the when. Do all of our work together in community. Focus on trust and relationship instead of individual excellence and high-vaunted praise for a select few. And push beyond enculturated and internalized biases that no longer serve us well. These methods and tools will serve us in all the forms of communities that we inhabit, not just here at River Road. Our success will be measured by the harvests we reap in the future. But we won't benefit from the harvest unless we sow the seeds now, sow the facts, sow plans for a healthy and thriving world by planning for 4 years from now. Sow true leadership by being involved in local and state politics. Attend city government meetings and listening sessions. Volunteer to work with children and youth. Participate in recycling and cleanup programs. I'm sure you have lots of ideas for how to plant the seeds we need for all of us to nurture our minds, our bodies, and our hearts. As I bring my message to a close, I'd like to guide us through a meditation on planting as written by David Snedden. Please make yourself comfortable with your feet planted lightly on the floor, your hands resting gently in your lap, the petals of your eyelids closed over your eyes. Earth, clay from which we made and to which we are made and to which we will return. Soil rich and aromatic, crumbling in my fingers, dark under my nails. This cleansing dirt, the natural filter for aquifers, holds life. Once weathered rock and dissolved mineral, now joined with humus, decaying material feeding hungry fungus and bacteria. You are living, made of living organisms and giving us life. Forgive us for treating you like dirt. Overlooked as we walk over you without a second look, littered with our discarded cartons and plastic bags. Forgive us our seeping toxins from clever industrial innovations. Forgive us and accept these seeds. Seeds, promise of future life, may you germinate and live into your full potential. Let your roots feel and follow the earth's gravity down, and let your green shoots break through to the surface and feel the light. Future plant, thank you. Thank you for converting sunlight into chemical energy that allows life to flourish. Thank you, literally, for the food we eat. Thank you, and accept this water. Water, fundamental compound, we are only a part of your journey. Little puddles making mud, cumulonimbus clouds above, glaciers melting over us tower, sprinkling in a summertime shower, the unimaginable expanse of an ocean's depths, vapor in our dying breath. You are in all of us. In every cell of our being, water, continue to flow, continue to allow life to grow. Continue to quench our thirst, continuing your cycle through the earth. Transpiration and evaporation, condensation and precipitation continue to filter and trickle into streams, finally reaching the sea, only to continue your journey again into the air. Air, solution of gases, invisible but felt, held and heard. We feel you as the air pressure changes and the tree's leaves dance in your wind. We hold you in anticipation. You are our life breath, flowing in and out of us all, oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. Inhale, exhale, flowing back and forth between plant and person, algae and animal. We hear you, air. You are the conveyance of our encouraging words and uplifting music as your waves vibrate. You surround us and expand through our atmosphere beyond the stratosphere toward our sun. Sun, little yellow star, great source of life's energy, bringer of light and warmth, harbinger of the new day as we see you again after another rotation on our axis. Roiling, radiant plasma, your solar rays give us hope. Hope for a new tomorrow. Hope for warmth after a long winter. Hope for light when the future seems dark and so hard to see. Brilliant, giant sun, shine down on our little earth. Let us allow for whatever has arisen in our hearts and minds to steep in the glow of the sun, the breath of the air, the moisturizing water, the sustenance of seeds, and the stabilizing foundation of earth for a minute or so. Amen, and so may it be. Now I invite you to rise in body and or spirit to sing our closing hymn, number 76 in the gray hymnal, giving thanks for flowers that bloom about our feet and all of creation. Please join with me.
Our Unitarian Universalist principles and values call us to live our values aloud, not alone, and encourages us to be open-minded, open-hearted, spiritual communities helping people lead lives of justice, love, learning, and hope. Here are some ways that you can live your values in the coming weeks. The ongoing food drive for To Be Well Fed will end at 9 a.m. This coming February 8th. And then you can then join us for a food packing event on Saturday, February the 8th, from 12 to 4 p.m. And that's in the fellowship hall. Also, a reminder for families and teachers to go to room 32 down the hall, down the stairs, for another RE brunch. We had a great one last week, and so we're doing it again. You can also sign up for the next session of the Transgender Inclusion and Welcoming course. This is good for people with all levels of familiarity with the topic. We will meet by Zoom every other Wednesday in March and April. You can get more details and sign up through the e-weekly. I should also add there was a special pastoral letter from Reverend Connie, separate from the e-weekly, discussing the events of the last 2 weeks. And you'll see announcements for community circles upcoming this week. This is an opportunity for us to be present with each other, with all that lies heavy on our hearts. There's a Zoom session and also, I think, 2 in-person sessions. We now close our time of worship by extinguishing our chalice and reciting aloud together these words by Sophia Betancourt from her collaborative essay with William Sinkford, Notes to Our People, which can be found in Seeds of a New Way. Okay, good. Let us hold the promise of the journey itself as that which lights the chalice of our living tradition. Let its origin as a symbol of protection in the face of grave injustice, of willing sacrifice for the liberation of all, remind us when we falter. Together, may we thrive.
My closing words for this morning are from Stephen Schick, Reflections. We have gathered bearing our presence, carrying our countenance. Like mirrors, we reflect all we have suffered, all we have celebrated, all we have collected from life before arriving here. Darkness of winter, rebirth of spring, abundance of autumn, they are with us. We make this space sacred by all this and by our resolve to project onto the pathway of tomorrow our best reflections.